Welcome to the Supplement Shop podcast.
Hey, how's it going, Brian?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Good. It's been a busy day, busy week, but it's
Yeah,
good.
for sure. You just had that big event, didn't you?
Yeah, we had Seth in over the weekend, which was super cool. We've been trying to get him to come to the store for like 2 years. Yeah, it was exciting. Everybody in town was excited, and all the employees that I work with, they were excited. So, and
Oh
man,
yeah,
have you ever met Seth before?
I have once.
He's a super cool guy.
He's a normal bro. He's a normal dude.
Yeah, very humble. So, and then Dodrell was in with him, and David's a great guy too. And we'd worked with David a little bit from Arms Race in the past, and yeah, it was cool to have both of them in town. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that had to be a busy weekend.
yes. I'd love to hear a little bit about yourself because you used to have a shop yourself, correct?
hmm Yeah. So I used to own it. Burrow built. Started
Yeah.
it from scratch. That was in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Okay,
I
nice.
opened that up in 2021, and then about a year into that, I started a supplement subscription box called the Burrow Box,
Yes.
and then that pretty much took off. And so I guess 2 years into the store, I closed down the brick and mortar and went fully online. Got a warehouse for everything there, and then I went like the 3PL route for all the fulfillment and everything. And so now it's all through mainly the Burrow box is what's still rocking. And then from there now, I guess the beginning of this year, I've you know created, and it's a software pretty much for supplement brands and supplement stores. And so it's everything that I used for Burrow Built and Burrow Box, everything that I wanted and used into one system. So that's what
Nice.
I'm doing.
So the Burrow box, man, I love that idea. That's awesome. And when you say 3PL, I'm so green with some of these terms. What does that mean exactly
So
when you?
third party logistics. So pretty much they do all the fulfillment. They're packing the boxes, shipping it out. Whenever I order the inventory, I ship it straight to their warehouse. I can track it all. I can, there's cameras on it. I can see them packing it. And they're just able to pack way more in a day. It's a lot more efficient. They charge you per box because of the
Uh-huh.
items and everything. But it ended up being like business wise expenses. It ended up being cheaper than me continuing to hire staff for fulfillment, getting bigger warehouses, ordering boxes plus on shipping cost. Since they also have tons of other brands, the shipping discounts you get with them is great because they're buying thousands and thousands of labels every day.
Uh-huh.
So it ended up being better.
Making sense, freeing you up. That's cool. How question and another question in regards to that. How often do they make a mistake? 1% of the time, 5%, 10% of the time? And the reason why I ask that, I see, obviously, you probably experience the same thing. Some of these vendors we do business with, some of them can be very frequent. Like they'll mispack or, yeah, flat out. Actually, I've got a couple emails out this morning. And that we shorted $600 in product between a couple different vendors. And if you're not paying attention to that, that can really add up. So I'm curious how often they're, making a mistake because they're going to happen.
For sure.
It's part of
I
it.
mean, the first, I guess, 3 months, once I really got it down with them, they haven't really made any mistakes with it. The
Nice.
problem is, like how you said, it's when I'm shipping. I call my vendors and everything, get it delivered straight to their warehouse, and so
Yeah.
they have to go through it, make sure it's all right. So really, it's the brand's messing up more than it is the
Yeah.
actual like warehouse people.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. It's nice to know that we're not the only one experiencing that because I'm spending a lot of time as our volumes increase just chasing down items that we don't receive. And, I've been in the industry for 10 years and I've been in and out of a lot of stores. And, some stores I can say probably weren't even bumping their inventory, especially if they didn't own it. So they were just unpacking these products and putting them on the shelf. And I'm like, I don't even want to know how much money they have missed out on because they didn't get all their order and they just assumed it was all in the box.
Oh,
So
for sure, yeah, 100%. And yeah, you can definitely misplace that a lot, especially there's the bumped products or the stuff that's kind of got dents in it or messed up.
image. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But what I
Well,
do is I give them like pretty much here's a sheet that they go through every single time, like a checklist, and they have to check it off with me. So that's from the shipments arriving They go through every little checklist to make sure it's good, and then when they're packing, they go through a step for every single box that they pack, and it's got to be checked off before they can send it out. And ever since I did that, it's been 10 times better.
Great system.
Yeah.
What do you do when let's say something comes in, a tub of protein comes in, it's damaged? Do you circle back around to the vendor and go, hey, this was damaged? And what do you do with that? Do you ask for a replacement unit? Do you sample it? Obviously, with the box, you probably can't do much sampling. How do you typically handle that?
So I guess it really depends on the vendor and how close I am with them. But I always let them know, and I'll either try to get a replacement or they'll give me a credit on, you know, for the future order. But a lot of times, you want that exact amount. So I'll try to get the credit, and then if they don't, most of the time they do it. And if it's dented or anything, then I will just open it up. I'll taste it myself first to make sure it's, okay. And then I would sample it out. And then for that box itself, if there's something dented or messed up, I'll like send an email out or a text and let them know, like, hey, there's a couple messed up tubs here. We're glad there's nothing wrong with them, but we'll sell them for, 25, 50% off. And that way we're
Wow,
selling it to make the money on it, but also trying to get the credit from the brand.
that makes sense.
All right. Okay. So let's jump in. I guess just to start for people who, don't know who you are and what you got going on, let us know who you are, what your businesses are, and what you got going on today.
Yeah, so I'm from Quincy, Illinois. I own Nutrition HQ in Quincy. There's a couple other nutrition HQs. Boy, I've been in the industry for 10 years, 11 years, and I've been around it my whole life though. So my dad used to own GNC stores. My parents are split up. I would go visit him in the summer and just hang out in the back of the store all day. I love business. I went to school for business and with a finance focus, but I always knew someday I'd probably own my own, own business. And really, I really gravitated towards supplements. So I've used them. I love that aspect. When I graduated college in 2013, I went and worked for my dad in Evansville, Indiana. He went from GNCs to Complete Nutritions, and his best complete nutrition was out there. So I went out there and worked at like the best store, the most busy to kind of see what it was like. I worked under like his best guy, and no joke, I worked literally every day that summer with him. We would go in the store. They opened at 10 a.m., be there around 9:30, work till 6, 7, go work out and just repeat. And every weekend we would drive to Bloomington, Indiana, the college town, and we would work at the Bloomington store. And then we did that for 3 months. I think I took one day off to study for the GMAT because I kind of wanted to go back to college for I wanted to add supply chain management into my degree, or get a degree in supply chain management, or I want to get my master's with that focus. But I knew I didn't want to stay in Evansville, and my dad had opened a store in Quincy with a partner, and the relationship just didn't work out. So I was like, hey, I'll come back and work at the Quincy store. And because I wanted to be back closer to here. This is right by Iowa where I grew up, and in between my dad and mom, and moved to Quincy. And me and another kid were running it. And the kid, I think that came up with me, quit within 6 months. So it was just me. I literally worked every day for, oh my gosh, I don't know how long, open to close. Those were long days. The store was not very busy at all. And I did that for 3 or 4 years. I, of course, hired employees. I worked by myself for probably 6 months, maybe not even 6 months, 3 to 6 months. And then I had some other employees that started to trickle in. The Quincy store has started to kind of grow a little bit. And then my dad broke away from Complete Nutrition and rebranded to Nutrition HQ. So my dad actually owns the Nutrition HQ brand, and his goal is to franchise the brand. So that's his long-term goal. He wants there to be Nutrition HQ franchises. I just own the Quincy store, and I've got my hands full with that. I'm happy with that because I have a family, a couple kiddos, and we're very fortunate to be busy here. And I'm a big community guy. I like being in the community and not traveling a lot. So
For sure.
I'd ran the store for him for a couple years. I'd packed up my bags and went to Mishawaka, Indiana, and worked at one of the stores out there. And after I did, I was like, man, I feel like I could do this on my own. So I'd asked him if he wanted to sell, and we had worked out a deal. Came back, bought the store. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to change about the store, so I made the changes. And since then, we've kind of trended up and been very thankful. I work with some great guys. One of my main guys, his name is Gage. We've worked together for 10 years. Wes is another guy that works with me. He's been there for I bet 6, 7 years. I got another guy named Damon that's been there for 6, 7 years. So we got I call it the dream team. All of us kind of work in the store, and then I've got a bunch of younger kids. So yeah, it's been great. I would say our supplement, this store here is not your traditional supplement store. We operate a little bit differently compared
Mm.
to, I think, a lot in the industry. So
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to go back to, so you broke off from Complete Nutrition. Did you take like I guess the systems and processes that work with Complete and just rebrand other things? Or when you say
yeah,
you broke off from Complete, can you explain
yeah.
that a little?
Yeah, my dad and Complete Nutrition, they severed their franchise agreement and basically he started over,
Okay.
rebranded. He developed the Nutrition HQ logo. And then we started building out our own systems from there. And he did. And then when I bought the Quincy store, I started building out a lot more. I added a lot of stuff that I wanted to change. And to be real transparent, I wish I would have done more, because as we've grown, it's a pain trying to go back and fix stuff that you're so used to doing that you didn't think of before.
For sure. Okay. So it is started from scratch.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. And how many total is there? Do you know?
There's three. So there's
Okay.
one in Mishawaka, Indiana. That's the one I traveled and worked at. It's a great store. I mean, that store has a lot of potential, and it's a franchise. And then there is a franchise in Vidalia, Georgia. So it's some old customers of mine that moved to Georgia, and they wanted to they loved what we were doing in Quincy, and they wanted to go out there and open their own store. So that store is about 2 years old. Well, no, 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 a year and a half. No, it's a little over a year. I'm sorry. Yeah, just over a year old. So.
Gotcha. Okay. And so to the event with Seth Feroce, is that so? Do you try to do an event every year, or is this just a special one-off?
Yeah, so we do a couple events a year. So probably would been 2 summers ago. We had Julian Smith in. Julian, another super cool guy. Really impressed with him. That was like a huge hit. So we're like, hey, let's try to get somebody else in. And Seth is just so relatable to the people here in the Midwest. So it's like, man, it really makes sense for him to come. And we have a lot of Seth fans. So that's how we landed on Seth. It took us a little longer to get him here. So we didn't have an event last summer, but we started, let's see, ladies' night. We do a ladies' night event or once a year, and this year was our second year, and that's a huge event for us. So that's who we focus on. We focus on, um, the woman over 30. Like that's our main client. That's who we try to serve. And what developed Ladies Night is, I spoke about Gage, Damon, West. Well, you come in the store, there's all of these guys. I have a couple girls that work for me, but several of my friends that are girls are coming up and going, "Hey, nothing against you guys, but sometimes I just want to talk to another girl, or maybe there's something personal that they don't want to share with you, or you just can't relate to." So we're like, let's create this space that these women can come and we're not at, and they can come and ask questions and meet other women in the community and help build each other up. And I mean, it's been just a huge hit for us. So the first year and my wife is the mastermind behind it. She took it and took it to the next level. So she's like, you know what? Let's wrap other locally owned businesses into it that are female owned. So they come, they set up clothing businesses so these women can come and essentially have a girls' night, learn about health and wellness, shop. We're supporting other female businesses. We have obviously health-related female businesses. So, it just turned into this big thing. We pick a local charity that we donate to. The last 2 years, we've done the Josie Basket Project. They basically, we had made a custom shirt, sold it, put all the profits back to that charity, and they develop baskets for families that experience infant loss, which is super cool. That's like a super important thing to us in Quincy is just the community aspect and giving back. So we had the first year, I think our goal was 200 women, and we had about 500. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
It was packed. This last year, we had got a bigger space. We work with pretty much all the local gyms. There's a fitness center called the Croc. They had said they would shut the gym down so we could host it there. And we were shooting for 600 to 700, and we had 1,200 ladies come through. I mean, shoulder to shoulder. So, our goal is this will be, I want to get down 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And I'm sure in your local community, there's just places that are known for putting on something real big. I want us to be known for, doing ladies' night here in 3, 4, 5 years, which we're already starting to get in that position, because it's just a great thing.
For sure. And that's huge. And so is it they're coming to shop, learn, is there speeches? Is it education, or is it more shopping and all kind of brands that are targeted for? women?
All of that's a really good question. All of it, it's shopping. We've got the health vendors so they can come and like we'll bring local, like we had a Pilates vendor there. Our friends opened a clean eat restaurant. We had them there sampling clean eat. So we're trying to compile all these resources so they can, if they're thinking about making a healthier choice or taking a step towards their health, they can come here and get information. But we did do some speakers last year. Um, didn't go 100% how we wanted it to, just because it was so chaotic. They were definitely attended, but we need to move the times around. And I think next year we're gravitating towards having like one keynote speaker, that will be like the main draw and just really invest in them and focus. And we have a friend, her name's Denise Talcott, and she just talks about motherhood and health and that balance. And it's just such a relatable topic. So I think we're envisioning, hopefully, if she's willing to do it, having her back to speak on that.
For sure, that's huge. So from the very beginning, I'm guessing your target was not females over 30. Did it evolve into that over
Yeah,
time?
it did. So typical supplement store, I read a book called The Customer Service Revolution. You ever heard of it?
I have.
Yeah, so it talks about complete nutrition in there, and it's like, hey, who runs a supplement store? Well, it's this usually this middle-aged, I'm sorry, not middle-aged, it's this younger guy, 21, 22, 23, and they just can't relate to the main clientele, and I've been there. We're very prideful, and we always think we don't realize how busy some of these people are. So we used to be heavy sports nutrition, and then when I had bought the store, a year or two in, we started to kind of switch that direction, going, hey, let's start targeting these everyday people, like people that are trying to keep up with their families, people that are working in the heat, people that just need better focus, people that want to lose a little bit of weight and just feel better. Don't get me wrong, we serve the sports nutrition crowd and we do very well with it, but our main focus is just, I say, the everyday person. And where I'm at in life right now is that very area. We've been very fortunate. The business has grown. I'm very busy. I work a lot. We have two kids. We want to have more kids. So it's just so easy to relate. Like, I used to work out 5, 6 days a week. Now I'm at 3 days a week just because that's where I can handle it right now, the balance between work life and family. So yeah, we really shifted our direction to just that, I call it everyday person. So
Sure. And that's huge. And I mean, business wise, that's where the money's at anyways. There's no the gym bros are, you know, I feel like the longer you take supplements and the longer you're into it, the less you're actually um buying.
definitely, yeah, I feel like there is maybe a bigger budget too with the the everyday person. I got to give credit. There's a guy named Joel. Have you ever heard of the brand NG Nutra?
I think so. Yeah.
So we work with him, and the guy that owns it's name's Joel. Jensen, and he's been like a little bit of a mentor to us, and helped kind of change that mindset. Him and my dad, help us think about that everyday person. And he owns stores called Scientific Nutrition, if you've ever heard of them. And then he owns the brand NG Nutra, which is like their in-house brand, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Okay. So I guess, you've been in business for a long, long time. What have you seen, from the early on, you said GNC days to complete to what you're doing now? Has there been a common thing for success that you've seen over the years?
Yeah, and I want to make a claim, like I'm definitely not no expert. I love to stop in at supplement stores and see what they're doing, and that's kind of how I built the store out here in Quincy. Like I visit all these supplement stores and I see what other people are doing, and I love to ask questions and I try to take that back to the store. And sometimes I agree with the stuff, and sometimes like, I don't know if that's a good fit for us. I would say, me looking in, from my experience throughout the years, uh, I feel like the margin in supplements is shrunk quite a bit. Um, you know, uh, and else you're willing to do your own in-house brand or partner with the right brands. But then I think even partnering with the right brands presents a challenge because people love the variety in my experience. So you always want new and trendy. So I would say, if if I was the ideal margin, I think if you'd asked a lot of the guys 10, 15 years ago, they would have a number. And then that number, in my opinion, is a lot lower today. Just I think you could achieve that margin, but I don't know if you'll always be able to retain that customer, if that makes sense. Because they might, shop, they're going to find it somewhere cheaper. So not saying you can't still achieve a high margin, but you have to be more strategic about it, I think.
For sure. Okay, so have you just seen does it that when the customer experience and getting them to come back every month comes into play a lot? as
Can
far
you?
as like getting if you were to almost map out like a blueprint, right, for a successful supplement store, somebody who wants to, they're just starting out, they want to open one,
Yeah.
would you have some areas to focus on for that beginner?
Yeah, I think wherever you're going to open, I think your community, being involved in the community, giving back to it, like that's a super important thing. And I would still even do that if we didn't own the supplement store. I think customer service, man, look, I mean, if you just look at not even the industry, but just across the US, I feel like customer service has drastically decreased. It's like we've been accustomed to having less service. So I think if you want to put some time and energy into customer service, I think you've got an opportunity to shine. And then, there's different trains of thought. My train of thought is I like the variety in my store. I look across the industry and there's some stores that try to set up and, pretty much funnel their own brand. And I think some of them have done it successful, but what I feel most comfortable is having that variety of brands and then having a couple key partners that we build around. But all the trendy brands like you know them, Rise,
Yeah,
First Form. What other ones? What's popping right now? Why am I drawing a blank? Redcon's pretty big. Although I do feel like they've regressed a little bit the past couple years.
yeah,
Popped up. I like to have all those because Alani new. That's a big one. They pull these people in. And ideally, hopefully they will, land on some other stuff while they're getting their favorite brand. So
for sure. Okay, yeah. So do you do like an embody? Do you do meal plan consulting? Do you sell meal prep meals? Anything that's kind of unique about the store?
yeah, we hopped on the Clean Eats bandwagon like right away. I think we were probably one of the first stores to bring them in wholesale back in the Europa days. You remember Europa?
Oh
I
yeah,
think they're still around. I'm not for sure.
they
But
actually just closed
oh, did they close?
completely. Yeah.
Yeah, our key partner now for distribution is Sammy. Sammy from Sports Life Distribution. I'm sure you've heard of Sammy. I feel like he's
Hmm.
been in the industry for a while. Me and him have a pretty good relationship. So that's who we kind of lean on for the distribution aspect. But yeah, Clean Eats, we were on them right away. We've seen a little regression in Clean Eats just because our friends opened up a local restaurant and people are kind of gravitating towards the cafe more, which makes sense because there's a better variety and it's a better thing for Quincy because it's getting more people into health and wellness and we work together and kind of kick people back and forth to each other. So Clean Eat, so we've offered those meals. We do have the InBody. We've had the InBody. When I bought the store, I bought an InBody within a couple months. I'm currently exploring the Fit Manager thing, and I'm pretty confident I want to do it. I've talked to some owners in the back end of the industry, and I think it's hit and miss. Some say it's not worth it. Some say they do. I think we can create value in it. We like to partner with a lot of local people, and I think that could be a great way for us to partner with local places. As far as meal plans, we don't do any meal plans. I think that might be a direction some of the other nutrition HQs go. But the way I like to approach that is we have a lot of people that we just work with in the community, and I'd rather refer them out, and it just snowballs. Hey, here's our wheelhouse supplements. I'll give a little basic nutrition advice. I have a precision nutrition certification, and which I think goes a long way with just the everyday people. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit that you can talk about, but if somebody wants something more thorough, I think of a girl that we work with in town named Shelby Kammerer. She owns SC Fitness and she personal trains. I love kicking back people to her. So we have just a lot of partners we refer to there. So
Yes. So it sounds partnerships are huge for you, right? So
yeah.
referring, do you do a lot of referral plans, like 10% off your shop, 10% off at your a partner shop?
We do some of those. There has been a little bit of a challenge as we've grown because this is a very thankful thing. We've had a lot of people want to partner with us, and we're getting to the position where almost everybody can find some a discount because they're working. Like all these businesses want to partner, which is an awesome thing. But we're starting to question like maybe we'd have to adjust our pricing a little bit. I'd say our biggest thing that we really enjoy and something that makes us special is we do an ambassador. We call it an ambassador affiliate and athlete program, and we have all these people. That endorse the brand. And it's just, man, it's some really good people. And it's not like your traditional people that you think of it. I think going back to like a lot of supplement stores, I think there was this mindset. I used to be this way, gravitate towards a bodybuilder. Don't get me wrong, we have people that do the competitions, but going back to it's just these everyday people that have had a really good transformation and people love approaching and asking questions to them. They feel more comfortable with them. And of course, we do have some elite people in it too that compete competitively. But these people are really what makes the store special. Them and the employees, like they always spread the good word. They're bringing people in and introducing them to us. And some of them, get a little bit in-store credit, but a lot of them are just like, hey, I want to be part of the brand, which is, makes us feel great.
For
Because
sure.
they're like,
And
hey,
is
we
that local people?
Most of the time local. We branched out to a few people out of the area. We're really trying to grow our website. There's some people in the industry that I look up to, and I'm like, man, they have got it going on, and they don't even know who I am, but I've just followed them, and I'm like, man, I'd love to, offer the brick and mortar aspect in Quincy, but also start serving some people out of out of the area. Quincy's in a tri-state area, so like where I grew up is about an hour away, and not all those people make it to Quincy all the time. Maybe they make it once a quarter. So I'm like, hey, how can we, make it where they can shop with us monthly, or more frequently, or even, I think if you don't evolve, you're going to be left behind. And what I mean by that is, we're in this time where everybody's doing pickup orders, so if we go against the grain and, not make it easy for people to shop with us even on the local level. I know there's a crowd that wants that convenience where, hey, I want to put this order in, send my daughter in to pick it up or son. So we're trying to really invest and build up our website, which is, I mean, you probably could teach me a thing or two on that. That is a whole nother ball game, dude.
For
Learning
sure.
and we had worked with some local guys that had built our original website, great guys. We just got in a position where I think we've outgrown them and we're integrating our in-store inventory with our on-store inventory, our website inventory. And we had to work with someone out of the area, and it's been a big problem. We've been working on it for 9 months.
Wow.
So it's
Really?
a
That's
project.
crazy.
So yep.
It's a completely different world, that's for sure. So like
Yeah.
even when and it's hard to give that in-store service that what what makes Nutrition HQ special. It's hard to give it to online because they're not getting that in-person connection. But that cracking that is huge, and that's pretty much where I put all my focus, and that's why we went all online. We got it to where 90% of our sales were online. Even local people were online, or pickups, or local deliveries, even dropping off at gyms at certain times, or choosing
Yeah.
like drop off spots. Do you ship like with USPS or
Yeah.
UPS, anything like that?
See, I look up to you're another one I'd look up to. I think it's so impressive to see the online you guys doing this stuff online. We're right next to a UPS store, which is super convenient. If we get stuff out by 6 p.m. that leaves today, as long as it's going via UPS, we utilize ShipStation right now. That's another little challenge is finding, getting the best shipping rate, and that's been a learning curve. I'd mailed out an order today that about cost $30 to ship, and it's like, man, this is a tight
Wow.
margin. It was heavier, but still, there's not a lot of margin dollars there. But yeah, the web game, that's where we'd really like to build that up, and that's where Damon I'd spoke about that works for me. He's having a lot of energy and time going into that and building that out. And not only from a sales standpoint, it's going to be better for our community too, because we get a lot, I'm sure you experience this. We get a lot of requests. Hey, would you give back to this charity or would you donate or sponsor this team? And we're getting so many requests, we can send them to one place on our website and have them fill that out. And then we can review them as a whole, versus being pulled in a lot of different directions or stuff getting left in the cracks. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like having them fill out almost like a form
yeah, Google form.
on Google Form, and then have it all in one spot. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So you said $30 for shipping. Is that for one order?
That is for one order. Yep. Yeah. And it was energy drinks. And it was going to West
Okay.
Virginia. So, and if I'm sure if you've sold energy drinks, like I don't know how, like we put a lot of effort into packing them to ensure stuff not being damaged versus some of these distributors, man. I think they just throw 4 cases in a box and, a yard worth of brown paper I'm like, and then we're like, hey, why did this get damaged? Well, you guys didn't put any packing in there.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, they'll stack the cases in with each other, acting like the cases are the padding.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I've dealt with that. And then when the heat, or if it gets real cold, sometimes they bust in shipping just because of the temperature. But
yeah.
yeah, shipping's huge. Do you ship? Are you packing stuff in store?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's the goal. If we can get the website where we want it to be, we'll have to get a offsite location to pack. But I mean, we're a ways out there. This has
Yeah.
been a learning curve there. We might honestly, my wife won't be a fan of this, maybe packing in our basement before we get
Yeah.
another location. So, but and going back to the website thing, I think that's been a challenge is, you said it, that providing that customer service online has not been as easy, because, when we've built up a reputation and done a lot of great stuff in the community and we love being part of the community. We don't have that rapport with the online customers. Frankly, they've never even heard of Nutrition HQ. And I don't feel like there's always as much grace there. Like if we make a mistake on the local level, a lot of people know us and go, hey, yep, no worries. And we'd always remedy it. And same with the website. But I've noticed there's a little bit of less grace with some of these customers online. Not all of them. Some have been great, but they're more willing to be more direct and sometimes mean. So
100%. It's because they're not going to see you in person.
yeah,
And a lot of that is like they'll just if they don't get what they want or it's a problem, they're way faster to leave a bad review.
yeah,
They will just look up and go right to the next person, next shop. Um, so the biggest thing is that is first is getting the traffic, right? Just like you've built the community and everything in Quincy for the foot traffic, but online is a whole different ballgame. So it's getting the eyeballs onto the website. Then it's figuring out, okay, how can we provide the in-store customer service to the new people, and their attention spans are 1,000 times quicker. Like you gotta hook them in the customer service, like chat widgets, like
yeah.
on the website, maybe having a live thing where you get notified on your phone and you can immediately jump in on there. There's a million things I can tell you about, but online's just a whole different beast.
That's what I'm coming to conclusion. Like, I think the store, what makes it so special, you put all these little pieces together and one's not moving the needle more than, what word I want to say, opening a water faucet, but you do all these little things that compile to a big thing. And that's what I feel like I'm kind of understanding with the website. You know, you have all these different plugins and you start layering them in and they start capturing people and creating repeat business. And, um, so we're slowly getting there. I'm going to be really excited when this new site launches because it's going to drastically speed up our pack time too. Our system is broke. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure just like I'm sure you have a kind of like an in-store process of okay, new customer comes in, this is how we greet them, just take them through the process all the way to the sale, and then maybe ask them for a review, all of that. And what I found is the biggest thing successful online is to take your in-store experience and try to like emulate it into an exact process online. So okay, this is how we get new customers online. Once they get here, this is the way the flow we want them to go through on our website. This is how we want them to check out. This is the receipts and the follow ups or the thank yous, emails and text messages that we want them to get, and so that every step of the process is as close to in store as possible, and they're getting that good communication. Like, okay, these guys they do know what they're talking about. They have all the brands we could possibly want instead of going to each individual store. We can ask them for questions, which that's what they can't get at an Amazon or a Walmart or even the big brands. They're too big to even give them that customer service. So even having that chat widget, like okay, let's say they want Axe Sledge farm fed, they click on it, boom, you have something pop up on the site like, hey, any questions about farm fed? It's got a digestive enzyme in it. It's a grass fed isolate, helps you digest faster. Like those little things that you have in store, trying to get that into the flow of online is huge.
I love that. And that's where like I've seen you guys have been great at implementing that. Some of these other guys I think of, and we're slowly getting there. But yeah, anyway, we have a chat bot now, but I'll be straight, I'm disappointed with it. It's we've tried a couple and haven't found one that we like. So we have a laundry list of stuff once our website relaunches and integrates that we want to start layering in. But you're right, creating that experience online and communication I've noticed is a huge thing. I think knowing you received your order, getting your tracking, because man, if I'm not getting tracking right away, I'm like, did they get my order? Did they, or let's say it gets damaged, I want them to have that tracking right away to show we put it out right away. Not that we wouldn't take care of them, but because I know when I don't get tracking right away and then I haven't got something for a week and a half, and then they're like, oh, it's damaged. I'm kind of like, did they send it out or did they just, or is it actually damaged?
For
So
sure. Yeah. Like putting like how pissed off you get whenever like you got a big order coming from a brand, you don't know where it's at, or the tracking is kind of slow, or you don't get it, but you've paid for it. It's like putting yourself in the customer shoes is huge
so important. Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so before we wrap up here, any last minute advice you would give to somebody who's maybe they're trying to figure out the in-store process, right? They're trying to crack the community. Any advice for someone who just wants to grow their brick and mortar?
Yeah. I think being prepared to work a lot and put in that time, like do you know who Alex Hermosi is?
Mm-hmm.
Recently discovered him and I just love listening to him and I think he's very relatable and I think he understands it. And just in business in general. But I think being willing to put in the time. Something I've seen here is people see how, that we've grown and like, I want my store to be like that. And I think it's just a commitment. You have to invest the time. You have to pay your dues. Not just, I think that's a first one thing, pay your dues, not to steal it, but I think it's true. And I think focusing on customer service and giving back and being involved in the community, I think that's where it's at, that's my biggest advice. And then, find some great people to work alongside and take care of them. So you don't have to be perfect, but I think just be honest with them. And, where I'm at right now is I've spent a lot of time on leadership, just to better serve the people that work with me, because I'm not in the store as much.
For sure. Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on and dropping all the knowledge. Where can people, if they want to find Nutrition HQ, where can they find you on social media? What's the website?
Yeah, yeah. So Nutrition HQ Quincy is our Instagram. I think my Instagram is open to Tyler Hall. I don't think it's private. You can find me on there if you have any questions direct. And our website's Nutrition HQ Quincy. So we're just a Quincy location. There's a couple other ones floating around out there. But yeah, if anybody has questions, I love to talk about this stuff. I could yap all day. So I think I drive my wife nuts with it, but I love what I do. So
Perfect. That's a wrap for today on the Supplement Shop podcast. If you got value from this, please share it with a friend. And with that said, keep building your business better, and I'll see you on the next one.